Appeals Board for Wednesday, October 7th. We'll all stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we call the roll, please?
Member Collins? Remember to unmute yourselves.
Present. I was trying. It was.
It's okay. Member Dominguez?
Here.
You can't always go.
Present.
Member Gersten? Member Gersten? Member Mann?
Here.
Member Parrish?
Here.
Sorry about that.
Member Parsoff? Member Parsoff? Member Vidal? Member Vidal? Member Ziegler? Member Ziegler?
Here.
Vice Chair Torrance?
Woof.
I'm here.
Chair Gavalia?
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any waivers tonight for absenteeism?
Mr. Vidal has expressed that he may be late, but he's not sure. So to ask for an absence waiver for him.
Well, let's motion by the vice chair, second by Mr. Parrish. All those in favor say aye. Thank you. And if he attends, we'll acknowledge his attendance.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Mr. Parrish.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and read the statement from the chair. Pursuant to Executive Order number 2069 issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis as extended by Executive Order number 20-246 on September 30th, 2020, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum of its members physically present or at any specific location, and by utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120-545B2 Florida statutes. As such, the members of the Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board are appearing remotely for this meeting. Procedures for the public comment will be explained by the Assistant City Attorney shortly.
Amber, I can swear in the city staff first, or you need to read your message first. Go ahead.
Thank you. I couldn't unmute myself. It doesn't matter if you'd like to swear in the city staff now, you can. That's not a problem. If you want, maybe I can read the form first, so that if there's anybody that's a little bit late, we don't have to do it twice.
Thank you.
Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the city clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the board concerning real property must make the required disclosures according to the city code in writing. A copy of the city code section is available at the office of the city clerk or online at municode.com. The agenda and the materials for each item on the agenda for this virtual meeting was published and made available to the board in advance of the meeting. The materials are also available during business hours of the city clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the board through the chair and pursuant to the published notice for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the board unless modified by the chair. Since this is a virtual meeting as authorized by the governor of the state of Florida, members of the public wishing to provide public comment can do so by uploading a pre-recorded video or voice message, pre-register for a callback to provide live public comment, or submit public comment via the city's public comment form. I'll provide more details in a moment, and more details can be found at miamigov.com/virtualboards. Submitted will be included as part of the public record for this virtual meeting and will be considered by the board prior to taking any action. The city will accommodate any speakers desiring to appear in person at City Hall, subject to all applicable emergency measures in place to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Speakers will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19, and any person exhibiting any symptoms will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the board acts on such proposition. When addressing the board, the member of the public must first state his or her name, address, and what item will be spoken about. When the board takes action or votes on any proposition, it shall do so by a roll call vote to be recorded and included in the record. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the board for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of this item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at may be viewed online at miamigov.com. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, or services for this meeting may notify the hearing board's liaison. Please note, board members may have generally been briefed by city staff on items on today's agenda. PZ items shall proceed according to section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance as temporarily modified by emergency ordinances 13902, 13903, and 13914. Pursuant to emergency ordinance 13903, parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, and any qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee may either make arrangements with hearing boards to be physically present at City Hall, to be sworn in by oath or affirmation, or may appear virtually and make individual arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Also pursuant to that ordinance, members of the general public are not required to be sworn in. Pursuant to ordinance 13914, city staff may be sworn in by city hearing board staff or the city clerk for any planning, zoning, or quasi-judicial hearings remotely by audio-video communication technology from a location within the state of Florida, provided that city staff can be positively identified. The members of the board shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida statute section 286.0115 and section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. Staff will then briefly present each item to be heard. For applications requiring board approval or recommendation, the applicant will then present its application or request to the board. If the applicant agrees with the staff recommendation, the board may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The city requires anyone requesting action by the board to disclose before the hearing anything provided to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Regarding access to the virtual meeting, the City of Miami is using Zoom to hold its October 7th, 2020 virtual Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board meeting. Zoom is a cloud platform for video and audio conferencing, collaboration, chat, and webinars across mobile devices, desktops, telephones, and room systems. In order to ensure that the public has the ability to view the meeting, the city's communications department will broadcast the meeting through all the usual channels and avenues that are provided when a Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board meeting is held fully at City Hall. The meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at miamigov.com/TV and on Comcast Channel 77 for those residents within the city. The broadcast will have closed captioning. It will also be broadcast on YouTube Additionally, the city has selected a virtual platform that does not require the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to watch the meeting. Aside from the Zoom platform and that the participants will be appearing remotely, the public will have no discernible difference in their ability to watch the meeting. Regarding public comment for the virtual meeting, the city has developed several new methods of ensuring public comment for a virtual meeting. It has established 4 new options. The first new option allows the public to provide public comment via the city's dedicated public comment voicemail by calling 305-250-5352, where individuals can leave a 2-minute message that will be played during the virtual board meeting. The second new option allows for the public to submit a 2-minute video to be played during the virtual board meeting. The third new option allows the public to submit comments via the city's online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form were distributed to board members and city administration throughout the day so that the board can consider them prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the board members up until the chair closes public comment. The fourth new option allows the public to pre-register online or by calling 305-250-5354 to provide live public comment by phone during the virtual board meeting. For all of these 4 new options, all the comments received will be included in the public record of the meeting. The city created a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments using these options. Those instructions were provided in the notice to the public and published online at miamigov.com/virtualboards. Additionally, like any other planning, zoning, and appeals board meeting, the public may provide public comment at City Hall. The city set up a terminal in the event members of the public travel to City Hall to provide public comment. However, as previously mentioned, due to COVID-19, all speakers desiring to appear in person will be subject to all applicable emergency measures in place to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19, and any persons exhibiting any symptoms will not be permitted to enter City Hall, but will be able to participate through the remote options described above. These 5 public comment options established and provided for the virtual planning, zoning, and appeals board comply with section 286.0114 and section 120.54 of the Florida statutes. The city published an agenda as well as included in the notice to the public pursuant to city code, the items and topics that will be discussed at this meeting. Additionally, the public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before and during the meeting. Moreover, section 286.0114 subsection 4C of the Florida statute specifically authorizes the city to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board of a desire to be heard, to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on a proposition. The city, through its 5 public comment options, has provided 5 different procedures and forms to indicate such. The city provided information on how to submit comments in the notice to the public and on a dedicated webpage. Board members, are you comfortable with all of the notice provisions set forth and these uniform rules of procedure we've established for this virtual meeting?
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have any minutes tonight to approve?
No, we don't.
Great. Any changes to tonight's agenda that the city would like to put forth?
None that I am aware of.
Is there anyone?
And Ms. Tron, you don't have any, none that you're aware. Okay.
It's okay. Can we go ahead and swear in staff?
Yes. Darren, Abraham, Tanya, Jeremy, and Sue, please all unmute yourselves. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
All right, so all the items that are on our agenda are going to be heard. So we'll go ahead and see, is there anyone at City Hall who wants to comment?
Yes, my understanding is that there are 2 persons over at City Hall.
I want to invite them to come forward and state what item they're going to speak on.
If you're not speaking, please mute your phones. City
Yes,
Hall
sir.
already?
Yes, welcome.
I think they're ready now. Huh? Ready? You have two folks here?
We're ready.
You could bring the first person forward.
¿Quién te va a hablar?
Hello, my name is Mercedes Segania, and I live in 245 Northeast 14th Street, Miami, Florida 33132, and I work near the area discussed in this agenda. I am here to support the proposed street closure and vacation application for the Island Bay project. There are two main reasons why I support this project. I think that Miami, when I came to Miami like 8 years ago, I came from Buenos Aires, and I realized it has the same issue, Buenos Aires with Miami, that they are giving the back to the water. And for these 8 years, I have seen this change, and I was very happy how the city was helped to enforce this bay walk that was very, very helpful and very nice for the neighbors. And I think this project especially will create a very long public bay walk that will be very good for the neighborhood. And also the second reason why I support this application is because the project will provide the area with a lot of site improvements that the area needs now, and I don't think they're going to happen other way. For example, 23rd Terrace doesn't even have a sidewalk. So right now, from the plans that I have seen, you will be able to walk from 23rd Terrace and also from 24th Street, right straight to the bay walk. And I think that would be amazing for us that we live and work around there, so we can connect with all these new buildings. And I think that's very, very good for the area. So those are the two main reasons why I support this application. And I think that also the developer has done a lot of work in the area, and we have seen how they have changed a lot of areas that were inaccessible before. And I think that that's a good reason also to support them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Emil. I live on 245 Northeast 14th Street, Miami, Florida 33132. I also work around the area. I have two childs right now, and I am here to fully support the project. I think the project is going to be a great improvement for the area. I used to walk around the parks in the area, and the idea of the connection of the building with the Venetian Causeway is going to be great, because you can walk along all those parks and buildings facing the water, and it's going to be great. And also it's going to improve the security of that area that is that it has no development right now. That's my point. Thank you for your attention, and I say again that I fully support this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at City Hall?
No, it's my understanding. Okay.
All right. Do we have any recorded comments?
Yes, we have about 8 to 9 minutes of recorded comment. We do not have any callbacks, and there were no online forms, so none were shared with the board. Would you like me to play the callback now?
Please.
Please let me know if you all see my screen.
We see your screen. Good.
My name is Tomas Delgado. I'm one of the members of the board of 23 Biscayne Bay Condominium Association. Also, I work at Northeast 22nd Street, right next to the area discussed in this agenda. I am doing this video to show my 100% support to Island Bay Street closure. I reviewed the proposed floor plans and the rendering, and I think this project will improve this area a lot. Also, this area has a lot of new construction. There are still some places with existing buildings that have no sidewall and lack of light, and this creates some insecure and dangerous area for people who live in this area. I think that Island Bay proposed plan with all new sidewalk along the entire project that will end at the bay will create an amazing area for people like me that like to enjoy the bay during lunchtime or after work. Island Bay will change the lifestyle appeal experience in the neighborhood. I love the idea of the plaza between Elysee and Island Bay. I think Edgewater is a great neighborhood that will be improved a lot with all of these new public spaces. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Hello, my name is Mauricio Espina, and I'm here to support the street closure and the vacation application for the Island Bay project. After reviewing the applicant's proposal, I can see that the street reorganization will benefit the neighborhood. It will be an improvement for this neighborhood. On Northeast 23rd Street, there will be a new access point to the bay. And on Northeast 23rd Terrace, there will be a sidewalk. Currently, there is no sidewalk. The area is currently kind of an eyesore. So it will benefit from the project. The area, the project alone and the reorganization of the streets will create a more welcoming environment and a safer area. For this and for many other reasons, I ask you to support this application. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Holger Odenstein.
Hi, my name is Fernando Hernandez.
And we're here to support the proposed street closure and vacation application for the Island Bay project. The reason why we're here, we just recently moved to the area with our business, and around that area, which is really vibrating right now and getting more and more populated, we see that the streets around the property, they're very narrow, and they have nearly no sidewalks, and the sidewalks that basically goes nowhere, and the streets go nowhere into a dead end. And that attracts people either to dump their trash, or it attracts a lot of homeless people, so making it a little bit more, unsafe there. There's not really an access to enjoy Biscayne Bay. And when I looked at the application, how the street's going to be redirected, it's great to have a new access point in Northeast 23rd Street. And provide better sidewalks, a new sidewalk along the Northeast 23rd Terrace, where there's no sidewalk now. So it makes things much more livable, walkable, and safer, the new street system.
Yes, I'm particularly excited about having, an access to the Front Water Park in Edgewater. There's really no open spaces on that area, and will be a great addition for Edgewater to have, a park, close to the water, and the people can enjoy it and relax. These projects will allow public to have safety walk pathways and bikes that you can enjoy, that now there's really not a lot on that area. We need definitely more public spaces on Edgewater. For this and many reasons, we just 100% this application.
Thank you.
My name is Maria Cuesta, and I live in 250 Northeast 25th Street. I have reviewed the project for Island Bay, and I really am excited for this initiative. As of right now, the very short walk from 25th Street to the bay is unenjoyable for many reasons. There is no light, there really isn't any attractive view, and more importantly, it's not secure. I believe that this project would greatly improve the environment, and it will improve the community. And it plans to build on a piece of land which of right now is bare, bleak, and desolate. So it would create a more enjoyable aspect for all that live around it. I'm absolutely looking forward to the inclusion of the boardwalk near the water. I am looking forward to the connection to the nearby park, as well as the beautiful scenes that we will have and the safety that will come with it. I support closing Northeast 5th, 6th, and 7th Avenues, as well as the dead-end portions of 23rd Terrace and 24th Street, especially if it means that this can be built. Once again, I wholeheartedly support this project, and I ask the City of Miami to please approve the application. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ernesto Morales. I live at 1500 Northeast Miami Place. I've been a resident of the area now for 7 years. I used to live on 22nd Street. Then I moved to 14th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. And now I'm at 1500 Northeast Miami Place. I fully support the project. I fully support Island Bay, what the developer is actually proposing. I think it's great for the area. As a matter of fact, my office is still on 22nd Street, and I know exactly what they're doing, and I think it's brilliant. The addition to a park, the Baywalk. I'm extremely excited for the Baywalk. The access point to Northeast 23rd Street. I think it's simply great. Another feature, it's safety. Right now, the area it's kind of dark. The sidewalks are very narrow. So by the time this project is going to be finished, obviously we're gonna have lighting, street lighting. We're gonna have people. We're gonna have way more people, and that makes the area way safer than what it is right now. So with that said, I want to repeat that I fully endorse and support what the developer is proposing for the area, and hopefully you guys will too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Lisandra Nunez. I'm here to support the proposed street closure for the Island Bay project. I have lived the area for the past 7 years. I actually work here as well. And I think it's something that is gonna improve the neighborhood. It's something that us as residents will be able to enjoy. The new access point that this project is creating to Northeast 23rd Street, it's great. And they're gonna do new sidewalks, they're gonna put new lights, and it's something that is gonna make the area safer and more welcoming. If you walk the area right now, there's pretty much nothing. There's trash, there's no light, and you don't really feel safe walking the area at the moment. So as a mom, I know how important it is to have areas in Edgewater like this one, something that you will be able to enjoy. And I'm really excited about the Baywalk, that you will be able to bike, you'll be able to walk, enjoy with your family and friends. So I fully support the project, and I hope you guys approve it. Thank you.
Chair, would you like me to call the first item?
Yes, please.
Chair, give me 1 second so I can promote them, the participants for that item. PCAB item 1, file ID 7801. A resolution of the Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board with attachment recommending approval with conditions to the Miami City Commission of the closure, vacation, abandonment, and discontinuance for public use of 5 streets generally located within the roadway boundaries of Northeast 23rd Street to the south, Northeast 24th Street to the north, Northeast 4th Avenue to the west, and Biscayne Bay to the east, namely Northeast 5th Avenue, Northeast 6th Avenue, Northeast 7th Avenue, and portions of Northeast 23rd Terrace and Northeast 24th Street, as more particularly described in the attachment, incorporated Exhibit A pursuant to Chapter 55, Section 55-15 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, making findings and containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
All right, City.
So good evening, members of the board. My name is Darren Murphy. I'm the planner for this presentation. As you can see, this is located between Northeast 24th and Northeast 23rd Terrace.
Are you sharing anything or?
Let me. You see my screen?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. Bear with me here. Technology. So this project is for a vacation closure, and it's between Northeast 24th Street and Northeast 23rd Terrace. To the south, you have Northeast 4th Avenue to the west and Biscayne Bay to the east. The areas in the red are the approximate street locations that will be proposed to be closed and vacated. And the yellow line is the subject property boundary. The areas that are going to be proposed to be closed are approximately 0.845 acre, and the areas that are going to be required by statute or by city requirements, dedications to the city to be exact, is 0.935 acre. And here's a breakdown of the areas that are going to be closed. Northeast 5th, Northeast 6th, Northeast 7th, Northeast 24th Street, and Northeast 23rd, equaling approximately 0.845 acre. Areas that are required to be dedicated to the city is the 20 to 30 foot ingress egress, sidewalk egress on Northeast 23rd Terrace, the egress easement between 5th and 6th Street, and Northeast radius, quarter radius for both Northeast 23rd and Northeast 4th and Northeast 24th Street and Northeast 4th. So this is the tentative plat, and starting from the top and working my way down to the bottom, you have the area here, which is the view corridor with the pedestrian access. We call it the North Corridor. You have Tract A and Tract B, which are going to be reassembled. And then you have the view corridor to the south. And then you have these three egress easements. One west between Northeast 5th and Northeast 6th are going to be closed. And you have the ingress that's connecting Northeast 24th and Northeast 23rd Terrace. Then you have a egress easement that's going to connect to the Play Street, which is in green. The Play Street is approximately 0.41 acre. And regarding the view corridors, the north view corridor is 70 feet wide by 25 feet in height. And for the one to the south, it's going to be 40 feet wide by 25 feet height. Now, here's a diagram of the north corridor with the 3D easement. And as you can see, the area in the red box symbolizes the pedestrian access point going eastward toward Baywalk. And the one to the south is strictly going to be a view corridor. There will be no pedestrian access. Regarding the cross sections in terms of elevation, there is a 6 foot elevation difference between average grade and top of surface. This area here is going to be approximately 10 feet by 15 to 16 feet, which will allow a fire rescue vehicle to easily get through by code. Now here is a rendering of a view perspective of the same view corridor. This is the north view corridor from the intersection of Biscayne, from Northeast 4th and Northeast 24th Street. The yellow area, or yellow box, excuse me, symbolizes the approximate location or the approximate view of Biscayne Bay from that intersection of Northeast 4th Avenue and Northeast 24th Street. Proposed closure and vacation of the right-of-way. The intent, again, is to reassemble the land into tract A and B. The objective is to unify development site that is compatible with the current zoning transect, future land use designations, and the established mixed-use development pattern, and to modernize this redevelopment site, which will benefit both pedestrian and vehicular circulation. As part of section 5515-C, our parts of paragraph C regarding the 4 questions regarding the closure of invocation of the right-of-way in this case. The question 1, is it in the public interest or will the general public benefit from the vacation of the rights of way or easement? The response from the Plan Street Committee was that the overall circulation, pedestrian in particular, will be improved by the 2 thoroughfares and the construction of a public dedicated 560-foot bay walk. Number 2 is the general public no longer using a right of way or easement, including public services vehicles such as trash and garbage. The public ingress easements closed by the proposed tenant plat will have minimal impact on access and circulation by the public service vehicles. Number 3, will there be any adverse effect on the ability to provide police, fire, emergency services? Actually, this redevelopment of the property will improve the ability of fire rescue and response times. There'll be less access points to service. And the last one, will the vacation and closure of the right-of-way or easement have a beneficial effect on pedestrian vehicular circulation area? The pedestrian walkability will be enhanced by this proposed redevelopment by the construction of continuous sidewalks along Northeast 23rd Terrace and Northeast 24th Street that connect it to the Bay Walk. So the planning department recommends approval of the closure and vacation of the right-of-way with the following conditions. The tenant plat 1893-H A3 submittal as prepared by Santiago A. Dominguez, professional surveyor and mapper, consisting of 3 pages dated May 12, 2020, and batch stamped and approved by the planning department on August 5th, 2020. The applicant and owner or their successor shall meet applicable development standards identified in Miami 21 code and all applicable local, county, state, and federal regulations. The applicant shall provide an access plan for review and acceptance by the city's fire rescue, police, solid waste departments, and capital improvements program / Office of Transportation. A building permit issued phased permits will not be issued on a property being platted until the final plat is recorded or as authorized by the city's code section 55-10I. Certificate of occupancy shall be issued after the required subdivision improvements have been completed. The applicant or their successor shall comply with the conditions of approval dated for the application to vacate and close these streets in the letter dated June 15th, 2020, issued by the Department of Resilience and Public Works. And last, the applicant shall provide a written request to the city's Office of Capital Improvements and the Department of Resilience and Public Works to obtain a confirmation of any public expenditures. With that, that's the end of my conclusion. Be happy to take any questions.
Okay, we can turn it over to the applicant.
Darren, can you unshare your screen, please?
Yes.
Chair, for the record, we also have Net here. And as far as the applicants, the only persons I've received affidavit from were Iris Escawa, Bernardo Forto, Carlos Melo, Edwin Monserrate, and Martin Melo.
Okay, who would like to speak for the applicant?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Iris Escawa. Can you guys hear me okay?
Fine.
Yes.
Perfect. Iris Escawa and Carlos Diaz with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue. This evening, it'll be myself and Bernardo Forbrescia making a presentation before you all. The client is available to the extent there's any questions. We also have Juan Espinosa, our traffic consultant, available to the extent that there's any questions. And we're really excited to be here before you this evening. We've been working for a long time The client assembled this land over approximately 10 years, and we've been working through the city process on this tentative plat for about 2 years now. So we're happy to be here and actually moving forward with this presentation. An overview, as you all are familiar with Edgewater and all the different developments that are coming through Edgewater. Edgewater has a very interesting story. Before Miami 21, the neighbors in Edgewater got together and asked for it to be rezoned in order to spur redevelopment and reactivation of the area. And as a result of that, over the last 2 market changes, when the markets came back, Edgewater, being along the water's edge, was really a beautiful area where the city has been redeveloped, a lot of new residences created, and a lot of the concerns with crime that the neighbors have, little by little, as you create more eyes on the street, has diminished. To give you a little bit, I know that Darren did an excellent job walking you through the location of it. It's basically a T with the longest side, 480 feet along the water's edge, and then consuming 3 smaller blocks, which if you look at the pattern along Edgewater, they're all very long blocks. These 3 blocks were actually platted this way, which is a very unique situation in Edgewater that doesn't really coordinate with the other street grid systems. Here's an example of some of the street ends that are there today. Some of these streets are not really streets, some of them are alleys. As you can tell, this is an area where this is the Northeast 23rd Terrace, where today there's no sidewalk, and one of the public benefits that we're providing is a new 9-foot dedicated easement area within the plat in order to provide for a sidewalk on the north side. So where those FPL poles are that you see there, those will all be relocated and buried, and a new sidewalk will be there in order to provide access, which was very well received from the neighbors. This is on Northeast 23rd Street. We actually have a new neighbor building a project called LSA, just south of that, and they are under construction themselves. This will be the location of the new Play Street that we're proposing in order to reactivate this dead end. So the diagram before you is showing you the right-of-ways that we're converting. So one of the things that happens through this process, I know it's called a street closure and vacation because that's the actual application, but we're closing them from their street status and giving more back in easement status. So the maintenance goes to a private party, the upkeep of it, all of that turns into a private. However, the public will still have access to be able to go over these areas. So here in this diagram where you see the blue hatch that goes along 23rd Terrace, that's the new sidewalk. In the north and south direction, those are going to be the 2 new easements that allow the circulation of vehicles. There's a brand new ingress-egress access easement that's being proposed at the end of Northeast 23rd Street, which today doesn't exist. So if big vehicles, emergency vehicles, go down 23rd Street, they end up having to do like a 20-point turn to be able to turn around and go back because the dead-end street there is so narrow. So there's a one-way circulation that's being dedicated by plat that would allow that. On the water's edge, there's 2 view corridors that are being converted by easement and providing a 25-foot height limitation on those 2 particular areas, with the northern one allowing access to the Baywalk. So this goes into the actual new easements that are being provided. So it's more square footage than that which we are closing. As well as, in addition to that, there's the 11,892 square foot Play Street that, I have 2 boys, I apologize. Play Street that we are providing, and we've coordinated that with the curb cuts of our neighbor. So our neighbor has, to the west of that Play Street, has their vehicular entrances. We have then the easement ingress egress. So it really provides for a nice modification of that street end to create a destination for the neighbors, which has been well received in our community meetings. As part of this development, this is a 5-acre development, and there are many public benefits that come with a project when it comes so close to the water's edge. The biggest thing is resiliency. They've already installed a 560-foot seawall at this site, and that just kind of starts all the improvements. We're coordinating with the city's resiliency department because they're looking to potentially put a pump station there in the future. So they've asked us, in coordination with that, all the new infrastructure that we're putting in is being put in anticipation of this pump station. So it's not just your typical pipes and upgrades that are being required, we're working with the city's resiliency department to really create and look forward into the future and coordinate with them all these different improvements for this area, which we know has water issues, high tide, king tide, all these different components to it. So this is something that Public Works has been actively working with us on. I mentioned already the sidewalk that's being proposed, that today that street has no sidewalk, and it's platted as a street, but it's only 20 feet wide. What we're doing is once you get to the water's edge on this one, you're going to be getting into the play street that you'll see a little bit further. And this is the new easement that we're providing where today there's no connectivity. And this is the play street end that will be improving for that area, which is about 11,892 square feet. And that'll provide for, we already did the seawall, we'll be working on those improvements with the city. This is the Bay, the Bay Walk is something that we are required to improve, but this is a link. And as Bernardo will explain to as part of his presentation, this is 547 new feet of Bay Walk, which will connect to our neighbors, which then connects and connects. So the city had a vision in the 70s when they amended their charter to require buildings to be set back 50 feet and to create this open space. And this is really it's fascinating to all see all the pieces come in like a big puzzle. And this is a huge link connector of that plan. I mentioned to you the infrastructure that we've been working on with the city. There's new lighting that's being required now as part of the city's photometric plan that we have to provide ample lighting in the streets. We're coordinating that, as well as various different improvements to the area as these blocks are really substandard in their current. We did a lot of community outreach during COVID. We had digital meetings, we sent letters, we coordinated as much. There are 27 letters in the application that we received with support. And we also worked with a lot of community associations nearby. We've obtained the recommendation of approval from the Miami-Dade County Shoreline Committee, the City of Miami Plant and Street Committee, and the City of Miami Planning Department. With that said, I'm gonna pass it over to the great Bernardo Brescia, who will give you the master plan concept.
Bernardo, you need to unmute, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Iris. And thank you, everybody who's present in this virtual meeting for organizing it, keeping the city moving towards the future, and being able to participate in this well-distanced manner. I'd like to take you through the project, and I'd say if this project has a value, the value is in its urban design contribution, because we've all been dreaming of this Bay Walk for so long, and every new piece of the puzzle that happens really helps finally put together evidence of the beauty of our waterfront for all of those who want to enjoy it, whether they're living next to it or blocks inland, and that everybody has access. I'd like to take you through the project. I don't have control, so somebody has to move it forward. I think Iris told you about the condition, the present situation on the site. This is actually not an uncommon case, because historically, as Iris pointed out, this neighborhood wasn't prepared for this redevelopment, and now with the zoning that exists, things are happening there, and if we have a good result, is that we can look out to the water and get to it. But some of the streets that lead to it are sort of dangerous, because in case of fire, the fire trucks are not able to maneuver and to deliver the services that they require. And in many cases, they're also not pleasant, because the end of the street is really the extension of the asphalt of a street all the way to the bay. So we're trying in this project, in the process of designing it, also to solve some of these problems. You can see here the views at the end of the streets. You see the view at the end of 23rd. Some of those streets are service streets, some of them are primary streets, but they all are streets that lead towards the water, whether it's behind your home or in front of your home. let's next, please. I think this site plan tells you what is a transformational value of this project. If you look at the effect on 24th, where we are taking widening a sidewalk, lining it with activity, and taking you across all the way to the water through a passage, through a zone that is open to the sky and green and open, that is the view corridor and the light corridor and access corridor that takes you all the way to this new boardwalk along the waterfront. Along 23rd, there's a second value, even though 23rd is more of a service street than a major street. It's not exactly pedestrian oriented in the sense that it's the service areas for the buildings on 23rd Street. 23rd Terrace is a dead-end street, but it's a primary street of access to buildings. Earlier, I was talking about 24th, if I may have misspoken and called it 23rd. 23rd Terrace is a rather narrow, and nevertheless, we've tried to improve it. We created a sidewalk, we planted it on our side, but more importantly, is a dead end, and it allows now for circulation for service vehicles and emergency vehicles to make a U-turn south and come back out on 23rd, or make a turn north and connect to 24th. So these connections are critical because finally these streets are not just ending abruptly on the bay, but they are actually instead interconnecting and able to provide the necessary vehicular access and safety access to the block and the buildings that we propose and those that exist today. So these are the key points on the vehicular side. On the pedestrian side, of course, you know that we are doing a few important things. On the south side, where the street ends, we're providing paving that is decorative but sturdy for the fire vehicles to maneuver at the end and make the turn, but also we're providing a play street, a park at the end. Finally, there's a destination at the end of 23rd. And likewise, as I mentioned on 24th, the pedestrians are able to make it through to that magnificent linear addition to the bay by putting our boardwalk that you see going north-south and linking properties in both directions. We can move on, please. These are some of the aspects that I want you to be aware of. We have our lobbies of the two buildings flanking a central space that is planted and that takes care of a proper access for the disabled. We have there's a bridge above connecting the garage to the building so that there's no pedestrian traffic that is crossing where the service vehicles may be going or where the drop-off may be occurring. If we go to the next level, you can see the public bay walk, and it's what is interesting here is our client has already reconstructed the seawall. He moved ahead anyway because he wanted to protect the site and the neighborhood and start doing the infrastructure improvements that are so necessary in that neighborhood. And if you go there, you will see that the work on the seawall. And but more importantly is that we have this amazing new boardwalk with landscaping, with porches facing it, and with the proper drainage, the proper percolation, and the proper landscaping, and the ability for bikers and joggers and strollers to be able to walk up and down the bay. Move to the next image, please. It is next to them, to this bay walk that we have, at the end of 24th, we have a passage that takes you level directly out to the waterfront. We connect the two sides of our project with a very light bridge that actually I think is sort of a romantic touch. And the opening that we created is actually far wider than the red line that you see that is the required zone where we are to keep the building open. And it is, you also see that we have located next to our walkway, our pool decks, so that we have a fairly wide open area next to the boardwalk, so that it feels airy and light, not only on the bay side, but also on the inland side. These are some other views of that bay walk, but also the areas that we have created with greenery at the edge, with benches and proper areas for collecting water on both sides of the walk. And there's a dock for people to do water sports and arrive from that side or embark on that side on the waterfront. And some of the other views that you see there is how we're going to enhance with tropical landscaping the areas that are between the city and the bay. These are some of the key elements of the project, but if I had to highlight probably the most important one in terms of contribution to the neighborhood is the Play Street at the end of 23rd, which we think is really a very important part of the policy of the city of terminating these streets with public spaces that are right on the bay. And I think that this is a very good example of what the city is successfully being able to implement along the coastline, which I think are really making really beautiful pocket parks for the city and making that waterfront not only accessible, but usable. And you can see here the map of the Baywalk. You see the pink line of the Baywalk and how it is finally almost uninterrupted. I mean, there's only one site that you have to go inland, and that site is about to be redeveloped. And when that happens, that will be completed. And all the way, and you can see into where we are. And if you can see where we are located, where you see the light blue turquoise site, the T-shaped site, you can see how we're linking already two pink zones on both sides. So this is really an important piece of the puzzle for the coastline that we've been dreaming for, I think, at this point, decades. We all know Miami was laid out in a very different way in which private property was abutting the bay. And this new policy that has been in place for some time has been successfully implemented in projects over the last couple of decades. And if
I could just add here to what Bernardo was saying with regards to the Baywalk and the connectivity, we were having an interesting conversation about the overall the city's vision and the charter provisions and so forth. And we had a very funny moment when he told me, Iris, I remember those. I remember when the movement was there to really connect all the Baywalk and to really make the city's waterfront important, because some of the old designs actually gave the garage and the back of the buildings to the waterfront. And it was really a big movement to embrace the waterfront and add that particular requirement on all projects to actually have this sort of setback and this vision. With that said, I think we can conclude, Bernardo, or I'm sorry, continue, Bernardo, if you want to conclude, or if you want to conclude.
I have concluded, yes. I think that this last image was referring to the Play Street, the park on the water that I was making reference about it, the importance that this is happening in the city.
And that concludes our presentation for now, and we're available for any questions that you all may have.
Thank you. Let me just do a final check. Did anyone additional folks show up at City Hall?
No, I was not advised of any.
All right, with that, I turn it over to board members. Comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Ziegler? You're on mute, Mr. Ziegler. There you go.
So you want to go ahead?
Go ahead, Mr. Ziegler.
Oh, I thought Sue had said, okay. Question, on 23rd Street, I guess for the applicant, Iris, why you're leaving that? I mean, I know you're putting in a 9-foot sidewalk. Why didn't you expand the street there?
The street there, we are dedicating right of way to expand that street. And on top of that, we're doing the 9-foot easement dedication. We also have in the view corridors that we're providing, today there's an existing 20-foot street and we're providing a 40-foot view corridor. And in the other one, there's a 50-foot street and we're providing a 70-foot view corridor. So we're expanding both at the ends, but on the street edge, we are.
Well, I'm looking at it. Well, I mean, you mentioned fire off 23rd Terrace. I mean, basically, what you gonna make that a one-way? Because it's only 20 feet wide. I mean, I was wondering why you didn't go encroach more on your property, create a wider street. And then you could have had basically 24 and 23rd Terrace as usable streets.
We did increase it, but for pedestrian activity, not necessarily for vehicular activity. That's why we dedicated the right of way, because today it's a zone 20-foot right of way. That's what it is per the zoning for the City of Miami, Chapter 55 from base building line measurements. That's the width of that street.
Just one question. How many units are going to go in there? Approximately proposing?
The total project would allow for 710 or 705 units. And what we're going to build is going to depend on market conditions, because this would be a condominium product that we're hopeful that in the next few years that market comes back. So we've been going through this process, which is a very lengthy and many steps process in order to prepare hopefully for that market return.
Next question. Access, the access view, the south view, you can't, that's not going to be pedestrian. You can't access that like the north view. The walkway, if I understood you properly?
Correct. And that's because there we're giving an easement to get to the Play Street. So there's a pedestrian access when you're coming up the street, then you turn south and it leads you to the Play Street. We're providing the pedestrian access on 24th Street as well.
One other question. Why the limitation on the 25 feet height? Because you're looking at length and width and then the height. When you're looking a straight view, that'd be my thing. If I was standing on the street, I want to be able to see the water. I know it's back there, but I can't see it.
Right. I can tell you the 25 feet has to do with a lot of the height. Remember, we have FEMA, we have elevation issues in there that we're actually accommodating, and actually it kind of all moves up together with regards to the 25 feet. But the 25 feet is a standard height requirement for these sort of easements that are being provided for access for the pedestrians.
All right, Vice Chair.
My question is also for you, Iris, about the Play Street. Why not have access to the Baywalk from the Play Street?
There is.
You can walk to the Baywalk.
You can walk to the Baywalk, and actually, if you saw the building that was under construction, LSA, from that street, you can go right in front of LSA and connect to the Baywalk, as well as if you go left, you'll go in front of our project and also connect to the Baywalk.
So from both the north and the south, you can get to the Baywalk pedestrian.
Correct. It was actually the 2007 city master plan that actually tried to reactivate all these dead ends and create these sort of destination spaces. And here, typically what precludes from the city from being able to do those Play Street ends is a vehicular access to a particular site. In this case, both of them are far back enough that you're able to create a nice 12,000, open space that people can go, hang out, play, have seating. So it really creates a destination that then opens up and goes either way along the Baywalk.
And this will not be gated to close it off to the public after a certain time?
No, Play Street's open. It's all open.
Thank you. My only question.
Member Collins?
I was just had the same question about the 24-hour operation. And my other question was, who's responsible for the security and the maintenance of the public easement areas?
The developer is.
Okay.
All the easement areas have to be privately maintained, and they go on the tax rolls. But because currently right now roads aren't taxed.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Parrish?
Back to the 25 feet that Member Ziegler was talking about. What was the discussion like with the community about, you say it's standard 25 feet, but was there much discussion about whether that should be 40 feet or 15 feet or 30 feet? What went on with that negotiation?
We actually had one of our neighbor groups, one of the associations was asking that, and they actually looked at it in perspective within their building, you know, where 25 feet was. And once you kind of realize the perspective of where 25 feet is, they were like, oh, that's okay, that's good. You know, like they felt that was satisfactory with regards to the height being proposed there.
So
It's actually big. 25 feet is almost 3 stories. It's 2.5 stories, but remember that the ground also is elevated because of all the resiliency that we're doing and so forth. So it's a nice space.
no, I'm just saying this is a major project, and it's nice to see how thoroughly it's been thought out, and also the community support. But I'm just wondering, you know, it's been a long time in the process, so I'm wondering what were some of the real sticking points you had with the neighbors, who are pretty vociferous about what they want to see. So I just like the back history on it.
I can tell you one sticky point, and it's what's going in the play street. Some neighbors wanted some more dog-related items. Some neighbors did not. So that's in the works still. The actual play street improvements. At one point it was like plain grass, then it was no, let's have a little dog area, let's have a this, let's have a that. So that one's still in the works, but definitely we've committed to building out that space.
And one last question: as the Bay Walk becomes more and more used by, you know, as it gets connected up, where are people who are coming from outside of walking distance? How are they going to get there? Is there going to be public transportation to collection points, or how are people really going to get to access the Bay Walk?
Actually, there's so many different points to the Bay Walk that there's actually one other piece over by like 21st Street. So can you see the screen?
Yeah.
This actually shows you all the sites that have already been dedicated to have the Bay Walk. So coming from like Margaret Pace Park, you go around, go in front of North Bay Shore Drive, connect that corner development there where it's green. That building's an old building, so they don't have a Bay Walk, so you have to go on the street. But then you connect to the street, and then you have all of that. So there are a variety of places that folks can come and connect. If you go, this image is a little short on the left, but that's the museum park over here. So that's the city's Jorge Perez and the Science Museum that are there, and the Art Museum that are there. So there's a variety of places where you can connect.
Final question from me is the Bay Walk going to be suitable for bicycle access as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone prepared to make a motion? Vice Chair?
No, can I have a question first?
Go ahead, Mr. Ziegler.
You know, I'm looking on the package here. This is the only thing we're considering here, right? It was some other easements off 27th and off 30th. That's not included in here? If you look on the agenda package, it's in there.
Oh, we showed those as other examples, similar examples, but no, that's not. We're only at the 24th Street is the most northern street part of our project.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Well, it didn't necessarily say examples or laid it out, but I just wanted to make sure that that's what, you know, this is the only project that we're voting on.
Yeah. The only one advertised.
And I go back to the Vice Chair.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve PZAB 1, I believe it's 1, with conditions as presented by the city.
One second.
The motion made by the Vice Chair, seconded by Mr. Collins.
And that was a motion to approve, correct?
The motion to approve.
Nice project.
Board members, can you please please unmute yourselves for the roll call? Vice Chair Torrance?
Yes.
Member Collins?
Yes.
Member Dominguez?
Yes.
Member Parrish?
Yes.
Member Ziegler?
Yes.
Member Mann?
Yes.
Chair Gavalia?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you so much, everyone. I had emergency signs in case I had like technical difficulties or anything again, but this for tonight. Thank you. Just in case my mic turned off, you know, this is on you to me, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank
You're always so thorough, Iris. You think of everything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Chair, give me 1 second to promote. Oh, Jeremy, I do see you. Okay.
Good.
PZAB item 2, file ID 7884. A resolution of the City of Miami Planning, Zoning and Appeals Board recommending approval of an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended by amending Article 5, Section 5.3.4, titled Parking Standards T3, to provide proportional driveway width regulations for low-density residential properties, making findings, providing a severability clause, and providing for an immediate effective date. Jeremy, we can see your screen.
Great. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for these now suddenly weekly meetings. Really do appreciate it. It's been working wonders to get us caught up. So what I have for you tonight is actually 2 zoning text amendments. We're starting with a change in standards about how we look at parking for T3 properties, for single family homes in particular. And so I want to go back to sort of how and why we have regulations for that in the zoning code currently. And that's really in the whereas clauses you see where we want to minimize the interactions between vehicles and pedestrians. And also, you know, frankly, it is a design element of Miami 21 to make sure that cars aren't dominating the street, and where, you know, the main portion of a house isn't presenting the cars to the street. So in that regard, the current zoning code only allows for basically a single width driveway, which is all well and good, except for particularly for large houses. What this means is that you tend to have a lot of on-street parking, and it can be a little bit counterproductive. And so the thought is that if you have a much wider than typical lot, that now you'll be able to have a wider driveway as well. So in particular, it'll be proportional to your lot width over 50 feet. So, but still not to exceed 20 feet. So what that means is currently, you know, from the property line to the street, you are only allowed to have 12 feet now. You know, you can widen that once you're within your own property, and that's what we've seen when people have multi-vehicles or multiple vehicles, or they want to have a 3-car garage. I think it does the work. You know, people have to come in and then turn within the lot. So it does. I think it's worked. But for larger lots over 50 feet, where sometimes there can be some design challenges where the setbacks are more challenging, or it's just a larger house. The idea is that you can go up to 20 feet max, but never to exceed 20% of the lot width. And again, once you're inside your property line, it can widen out to a larger driveway. And that is my summary for this particular amendment. Any questions?
And again, just to pause, is there anything at the City Hall or any other new comments?
No, Chair.
I'll bring it back to the board for comments, questions. If you could unfull screen so I can see the members.
Help.
No, we don't have. We're good. Thank you.
Know how to do that.
Jeremy, there should be a little thing that says, I got you. I'm gonna put stop sharing. I got you.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Switch
Ziegler,
between
hearing it.
different platforms.
Is that you, Mr. Ziegler, with your hand raised?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Question, Jeremy, on, speaking of driveways, it was an issue that came up when we were doing some drawing in regards about the 12 feet length. Let me ask you, so the 12 feet, you got the 12 feet width on a property line. Now, if they decided to put it in what I call pavers, 5 foot by 4 foot pavers and, and have the grass in between, does that count as far as a driveway?
Yes, it's basically, it's all about the vehicular pedestrian interaction. So anything that's designed for vehicular space, it counts as a driveway.
No, even I'm talking about on the property line, because see, some of them take that same design up into the house on the walkway. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the little 5 by 6 foot paver. Some of them do all different sizes. I'm talking about the design of it. You have a 12 feet, so you met the requirement.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically have that same design now going towards the house. It's impervious because, you have the grass in between it. But, the only reason why this came up, only because I was working on something for one of the commissioners and the issue came up about that design. You have that 12 feet, but if I carry that same design, those same paver design towards the house, does that count towards the driveway?
Not necessarily, but then it actually shouldn't matter once you're within the property line. You get to expand beyond the 12 feet once you're within your property line in any case. Now, there could be another issue without knowing the project specifically, but there could be another issue in terms of green space requirements or
wasn't
impervious
that.
area.
They're just saying, hey, it has to be 12 feet, which is what you're saying. The 12 feet, I understand that. But if you take that same design never mind the design and pavers and the grass, even if you want to just sort of take the concrete further, you can't if it was solid concrete, because it has to be 12 feet. I'm only just saying that was the planning department said in the city. It has to be 12-foot wide driveway, period. You couldn't make it wide. You couldn't expand that driveway in concrete. But my issue was, and I've seen it in the Grove already, what they do to get around it is they basically, do the paver design with a little grass design in it, and you can do the whole front of your yard.
So you can, the portion we're regulating is where that driveway meets the property line and goes past the property line. You're allowed to have a wider driveway within your property. And whether that's driveway or walking surface at that point, I think that's where you definitely are allowed to have it wider. And it's a matter of, but you do then the green space and impervious and other regulations come into play. So without knowing the specifics or exactly it's very hard to sort of diagnose without seeing it. Maybe I'm just too visual.
No, well, I mean, if you look at it this way, okay, you got your 12 feet, right? Let's just say, putting aside anything else, 12-foot driveway. That's the 12-foot width of a driveway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going in. That's the design of it.
Right. To the property line.
To the property line. Now, you're saying inside of that can be widened. That's what you're saying? But not according to the city. I'm telling you, I put plans, not according to the city. When you go down there, they said, no, only 12 feet wide. Now, of course, I guess if you set back 3 or 4 feet off the sidewalk and then can continue to design, maybe you can do it that way. But they would not allow you to go wider than 12 feet.
Yes, so there are regulations about, I think, where it can start, and I'd have to pull up the code about where within the frontage in which layer you can expand out. So, there is the intention to have it buffered. So I could check on that for you.
All right, no problem. It's 20 feet. It's 20 feet. I'm fine with that. I was just trying to make sure if it's going to go from 12 to 20 feet, because the problem you laid out is having 2 cars, because especially if you're on a corner, Now you got 12 feet on this side, you got to put another 12 feet on the other side. You know what I mean? In order to get 2 cars. That's been the issue down there at the city when you have a corner property. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, and if you have a corner property where one of the frontages is over 50 feet, you'll be able to, that's where this would come into play.
Exactly. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Vice Chair, did you have a comment?
No, I think my question was already answered. Thank you.
Mr. Parrish?
Jeremy, how would this affect in older, again, I'm talking maybe now the South Grove particularly, how would this affect a development where you do in the street right away, you actually have some very big trees, and the previous developers, previous home builders had designed their driveway to go between those trees. And now some of the older houses are getting knocked down. I can see a design coming in and saying, well, we're now allowed to have a 20-foot driveway, and this oak's going to have to go so we can expand from 12 to 20 feet, even though the house has been demolished had a 12-foot driveway. You see what I'm saying? Does that compute with you, Jeremy?
Yeah, but this doesn't actually change the NCD. The NCD regulations still apply. Let me double check and see how the specific overlap is. But the reality is people could come forth with a design, even with a 12-foot drive, and say, well, it really needs to be in this location, and could apply for a tree removal, even in that case.
Yeah, I get that. I just want to make sure this isn't used as another way of, you're saying it doesn't affect the green space requirements, so they're going to still be the same green space requirements.
Right.
It's just we've seen so much of our canopy in the grove lost by people not giving, by the city not giving enough weight to the existing trees that are there for multiple reasons. And I'm not expecting you to cure that tonight. I actually think, that going from 12 to 20 feet makes some sense, getting the cars off the streets. But I got to say, I am always concerned that the canopy always gets second or third priority when the city looks at permits.
Yeah.
Do you have a magic wand for that?
I do not.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
Mr. Parrish, would you like to make a motion?
Let's see if anybody else wants to make a motion on this one. I still have some misgivings about anything that increases any degree of pavement anywhere in Coconut Grove. I would rather not make a motion on this.
I'll make the motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Ziegler. Is there a second?
I'll make a motion second.
All right, so second by Mr. Dominguez. Please call the roll.
This is the motion to approve.
Yes.
Member Ziegler is the mover. Member Dominguez is the seconder. Member Ziegler?
Yes.
Member Dominguez?
Yes.
Member Collins?
Yes.
Member Parrish?
Yes.
Member Mann? Sir, can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. Yes.
Vice Chair Torrance?
Yes.
Chair Galvalia?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next item, please.
PZAB item 3, file ID 7917. The resolution of the City of Miami Planning, Zoning and Appeals Board recommending approval of an ordinance of the Miami City Commission, amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended by amending Article 7, Section 7.2, titled Nonconformities, Structures, Uses, Lots, Site Improvements and Signs to provide for the refurbishment of specific purpose design structures and the uses they were designed for, make findings, providing a severability clause, and providing for an immediate effective date.
Once again, good evening. So if you'll indulge me, Mr. Parrish, I think just for your information, I took another quick look at the NCD regulations. And one thing that still applies is that a 9-foot garage is the maximum that can face the street in the NCD, which I think should at least serve to discourage sort of the typical 2-car garage entrance. You know, if people want multiple car garages, they still have to turn them sideways, which means maneuvering onto the site. So it should mitigate that concern somewhat.
Thank you.
So the second item presenting now is an amendment to the code to allow for non-conforming uses to continue for historic structures. So this is an amendment to Article 7, where we have all of our current information about non-conforming uses. So this is an amendment. So when we have purpose-built structures, that they can continue to operate for that very specific use. And to be frank, what we're talking about is the historic Marine Stadium on Virginia Key. So this area is Zone CS. And when we go to our use chart, Article 4, Table 3, and we find the CS category on one side, and we see place of assembly on the other, we notice that there's nothing there, which means this is not an allowed use in a CS. And the challenge with the Marine Stadium is that it's been vacant and it has not been used for some years. So under current regulations, it would not be allowed to have that non-conforming use come back into play. So obviously this has been considered and it's been adopted in the city's master plan for Virginia Key that the Marine Stadium be restored. We have an active project to do the restoration. I've been reviewing drawings for quite some time about the details of that, and it's come a long way and we're getting close. Obviously, it historically was used as a stadium. It's tough to imagine it being anything else. So this is an exception that would allow these specific purpose-built structures that are historic to continue to be used for that very specific purpose. And you know, it's done through a process of exception as proposed, so that there's a very high level of scrutiny, that it's compatible with the present context. So this is not a get out of jail free card for any other proposals that we might see. We did a quick survey. We can't see any other current buildings where this might apply, but of course we want to write the code in such a way that if something changes in the future, that we'll be able to accommodate it. So that is the text amendment.
Wow.
Hi, do we have any questions? Mr. Ziegler?
Well, I'm looking at this, you might have a lot of unintended consequences in the way this reads. If it was for the design Marine Stadium, why you just didn't made it specific to it, like as an address or something like that? Because I'm just reading this and this can be applied to other properties.
It's only for historic properties or for non-conforming uses. So
that's what I'm looking for, that in the wording. Where is it? I mean, am I missing something? It says,
let me see.
It says amended. It says titled non-conforming structures, uses, lot on improvements and sign to provide for refurbished specific purpose design structures and the uses they were designed for. It doesn't say anything about historic. That's why I'm just reading it. I mean, it looks like it's, you gonna have a lot of, I mean, I'm not against it, but I mean, it's going to have a lot of unintended consequences if somebody has a building. I mean, whatever it happens to be, hey, I can continue to use it. I mean, he can use this
Only for specialty structures.
It doesn't say that, but I hear you. It says specific purpose. What is that?
It does say special. It does say specialty.
I'm fine with it. I'm just telling you, I think it should be a little bit more specific. If it was just in my opinion, but
structures clearly designed to arrange specifically for a use or uses which are no longer in conformity. So, arranged specifically for.
I'm fine. Like I said, I just
actually I agree with you, Member Ziegler. I do think it's, now that I think about it, it seems like it's overly broad, Jeremy. It could be tightened up with just one or two words. If you're specifically meaning the Marine Stadium, why not put historic in there as an amendment to this? I do think.
I thought it was interesting that that your presentation very clearly stated that we were talking about historic structures, but the item doesn't mention historic. That's a good catch, Mr. Ziegler.
Oh, very good.
Listen, I'm personally fine with it. I'm just saying, I think if that was your specific thing, Jeremy, some other people are going to be able to use that because the wording is pretty, like Mr. Parrish said, pretty broad. But if you're fine with it, I'm fine.
So let's give the city an opportunity to respond to the historic comment that's been made by a couple of members on why that's not specifically called out.
So I think this is thought for other purpose. I think it is intended to be a bit broader, but again, it's for specialty built things that can't be adaptively reused, for instance, to come more in compliance with the current regulations when we have a nonconformity. There's also, there are things that might be on the national register that aren't on local registers.
Go ahead, Mr. Mann.
If I may, just as an example of the broad nature of this, right around the corner here from where I live, there's a little bodega, a little Chinese restaurant that is definitely grandfathered in. There is no commercial use on that property on the books, but it's been operating commercially for 30 or 40 years. So would this apply to them? It's not a historic building in any way, shape, or form. So could they use this vehicle to now we'd like them there. We don't want them to move, but would this apply to them as well?
So let's think about the context in which they might apply for an exception. It would be if they were going to refurbish the structure after a period of time of it being vacant, where they didn't have a continuing certificate of use, where they would be continue to be actively grandfathered in, right? Like that's the circumstance in which it would come out. And if they could make the case that that structure is a specific design, can't really be repurposed to fit in with the current zoning requirements and limitations on use, they could apply for an exception, which again, extremely high hurdle to get through, at which point they would need to make the case that it's compatible. Well, the two cases, one that this is such a specific specialty structure that's arranged specifically for the use, and that it is compatible with the present context. So it's a pretty significant hurdle. Like this is not something that will be easily applied for or utilized.
Thank you.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not, let's say a lawyer, Jeremy, but I'm looking at these words and I hear what you're saying and I hear what your intent is, but I'm reading this, and it's just, you call this an exception. You're changing, well, we're changing Article 7.2 for non-conforming structures.
Yes.
So this is going to be the language. I mean, why couldn't someone else use this? Because it says nothing about historic. It says nothing about exemption. It said, I mean, it doesn't say any of what you just said. I hear what you're saying.
So it doesn't say historic specifically. It absolutely says everything else I said. It's by exception. It is for structures clearly designed specifically for a use. So sort of specialty buildings. And it says that that the only way they can apply for the exception is they have to demonstrate that it's compatible with the present context. That's all in the language.
I hear you. I mean, I guess I'm just reading it different. I understand what you're saying, but I just look at it differently, just thinking back over things that could be applied for. But you got signs in there. Let's just say you didn't like a sign. Hey, well, it's an old, so whatever it is, you know, because you've got in here, it says, I'm assuming you're referring to signs on the building, commercial building.
You're talking about the broader.
I'm just reading what's here. It says signs. I mean, I'm not.
A broader chapter for nonconformities, yes.
Okay, well, that's all right. I just look at it differently. I'm not saying, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just reading something different. Okay. So.
Mr. Parrish?
Could you go in, Jeremy, a little bit more on we know a specific use, and then you talked about that it is not easily adaptable to a different use. Could you go into that, what the protections are for that we're not being overly broad?
I mean, it's the first portion of the change. So structures clearly designed or arranged specifically for a use or uses which are no longer in conformity with the regulations of the transit zone. So this isn't for.
So somebody wants to change that structure significantly. How is that going to work?
So if they're changing the structure significantly, then it clearly was not designed for a specific use. And so they wouldn't meet that standard. Like if they're changing the building.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if they're altering the building to serve a new use, then they've fallen off what they can no longer apply for anything under this category.
All right. Just one more question, if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Go ahead.
If someone wanted to continue a non-conforming use, they can use this, right? If the city tried to shut them down.
This doesn't apply. So you can there are grandfathered uses all over the city.
Right.
The key is the continuity of use.
Right, after 6 months. But see, again, it doesn't say that here. It doesn't say, it says.
No, because this specific regulation lives within the context of the rest of, Article 7 and the rest of the language for nonconformity.
Man, that's like, yeah, I hear you can provide it for the refurbishment. Yeah, in other words, it's like at some point you're assuming that it was not in use, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, if the Marine Stadium had been in continuous use, we wouldn't need this, or if it only had that brief window when it wasn't used.
This will be my last statement. I think this is going to have some unintended consequences. If you wanted to say the Marine Stadium, I'm just saying it was me. I would just put Marine Stadium in here and be done with it, because I think this is going to be able to apply to other places. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just looking at what I'm reading. That's all. But I'm done, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, is anyone prepared to make a motion?
I'll make the motion, but before I do, I'd like just to say one thing. There was a big story in the Herald today about the Marine Stadium, and this is a little off topic, but the Marine Stadium in particular, since you brought it up and showed the picture of the hydroplanes and everything, that's pretty much what's happening with the Marine Stadium now. So the swimmers and the rowers and the kayakers and the nature people are being neglected again by lack of enforcement of any regulations or rules out there. There's a major real estate plays that are already in the works, as you know, for that whole area of Key Biscayne, or of the Key on Virginia Key. And that's why I'm so skeptical of anything that involves the Marine Stadium, where I was a member for the Miami Rowing Club for years. But that's off. I will make the motion, Jeremy. I think there's under the exceptions in the code, we're pretty well protected, but with some misgivings that Mr. Ziegler has brought up, I'm just hoping that this doesn't become something we look back on and say, I'm sorry we ever approved that. But I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have anyone willing to second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Ziegler.
Can I get clarity as to the motion? It's to recommend approval, correct? With no modifications?
Correct, with no modifications.
The mover was Mr. Parrish and the seconder was Mr. Ziegler, correct?
Correct.
Member Parrish?
Yes.
Member Ziegler?
Yes.
Member Collins?
Yes.
Member Dominguez?
No.
Member Mann?
Yes.
Vice Chair Torrance? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Chair Galvalia?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you. We'll see you next week as well.
By the way, Jeremy, I like your ideas. I think it's going to help the city, but especially that first one. You know, now we got to get the non-conforming uses of residential and other stuff. That would be a nice thing to help too, as far as with the city with all these other buildings and lot sizes. But that's another issue for another day. So
we have one more item, I believe.
Yes, we have a discussion item, file ID 7891. On September 2nd, the resolution PCABR 20-30 zoning text unity of title was heard by the board. During the public hearing, there was a motion to approve, which failed as 4 members voted in favor and 5 members voted against the preferred motion. While the item is moving forward and will appear on the October 8th, 2020 City Commission agenda via file ID 7842, the PCAB has requested the topic be brought back as a discussion item for further discussion. And we have Mr. Ruiz here, present.
Hi, good evening. Joe Ruiz, Office of Zoning, Chairman of the board. Thank you for having me back. And Erica, thank you for that recap. Like you said, this is an item that amended Article 7 with respect to unities of title that was first heard before the board on September 2nd. There was a motion to approve, but that motion failed 4-5. If you recall, that legislation did 3 things. One, it codified some administrative procedures that were presently in place here at the city. Then it also created a release review committee that was comprised by myself, the building official, directors of Resilience and Public Works, Planning Department, and Code Compliance that would review any application for a modification, amendment, or release to a unity of title, covenant in lieu, or any other covenant. And also it creates efficiencies because it requires that release review committee convene within 30 days of receiving a complete application. And again, there was some discussion at the meeting at 9/2, and there was a request for me to come back for further discussion on this item.
Okay, thank you for bringing this back. Discussion? Mr. Parrish.
Mr. Ruiz, if I recall correctly, that meeting, the main issue was whether the notice requirements for the adjoining properties up to 500 feet. And the main discussion was whether this committee that the city wants to put in place to review these kinds of issues should have to be noticed to the public. And what's the new thinking regarding that issue?
Yeah, if you recall when that last comment was made up, I recommended that not be something that we include in the legislation. Typically, when there's a notice requirement with respect to any action taken by the city, it's as a result of an applicant or an affected property owner, excuse me, being able to appeal the decision of the city. Any release or modification of a covenant, these are administrative in nature. We do hundreds of unities and covenants that are entered into a year. We don't have that volume with respect to releases, modifications, or releases. But again, these are an administrative functions that don't have an appeal provision.
So how would, are these meetings going to be regularly convened of the department heads you were just mentioning to review these? So how would, for example, if I'm a neighborhood activist and I want to keep track of on what's happening with these things, how would I even know that you're having one of these meetings about any particular property?
It's not a regularly scheduled meeting because the infrequency in which we receive requests to do a release or modification, I don't think it justifies having a regularly scheduled meeting. That's why it says 30 days after receiving a complete application. Again, this is an administrative function that comes across, the city's desk. Again, not infrequently, but it's administrative in nature. There's not an appeal provision associated with this, and nor would I recommend there one to be. They're typically tied.
Just to follow up, this is the hard one for me because I appreciate the efficiencies and, I'm a small time developer with a little d, and so I'm always complaining about how long it takes to get anything done or approved. So I appreciate the motivation behind this, but we all know this came out of that Day Avenue fiasco where so many things were approved administratively that now we have this permanent eyesore in the West Grove that's going to be there for the next 30, 40 years. There's a billboard, as you know, that says shame on the city of Miami for approving that. And so there's such a lack of trust that, and I know that's why you've got all these people who are going to review these things, so that there are going to be lots of people who say, yeah, we're never going to have this thing slip through the cracks again like we did. But the main issue you got is one of public trust. And by eliminating any public right to even know when this is going to be, even though you say it's very infrequent, I just think it erodes that public trust even more. And God forbid we ever have another Day Avenue ever in the city of Miami. That one I know, and it was under, you've been in the department for a while. I know there are lots of really good people at the city who just are embarrassed beyond belief by what happened there. And the guy who did it, supposedly the main guy, is gone. But it's going to take a while for people to think that the city's really paying attention to neighborhoods that don't, like the West Grove, that don't usually get very much attention, period. Now they are, because it's free for all right there now. But I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this, because I really thought the public notice was important for anything having to do with releases of covenants or unities of title. So I'll wait and hear what other board members have to say.
Remember, gentlemen and ladies, this is a discussion item, so really, I don't believe there's any action that we're going to take tonight.
Oh yeah, and
right?
Tomorrow the city commission is voting on it anyway. So
this
there
is
you go.
more to follow up with questions or give the city a chance to provide some feedback. Mr. Mann.
Yeah, just for the record, I think that I don't think how the frequency or infrequency should have any bearing whatsoever on notice, or on the neighborhood's right to be noticed. I think it has nothing to do with it. And if this is specifically for larger projects, then even more so they should be noticed. So I wasn't here for the September 2nd meeting, but this makes me uncomfortable just hearing about it now.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yeah, a question. So any basically any unity of title, no matter what it is, that's it. Basically, it's going to be administrative, period.
It's an administrative function now. Unities of title, covenants in lieu, other covenants that are entered into are frequently done for purposes of development. Anytime you're building across lot lines, you're going to be required to enter into one of those documents.
Right. But that's what I'm saying well, let me ask you something. Let me ask you this way. The difference between what you had proposed versus what was before is what? The difference is now it's all done administratively. If it was all done administratively, I'm sort of not getting what's the point in doing, what was the point of resolution? I remember it was sort of going back and forth. The fact that if it's a big enough project, basically you don't have to notify anybody anything or even tell them that it's even going on.
No, well, to Member Parrish's point, hopefully this legislation is a step in the right direction of rebuilding the trust with the community, because previously modification or amendment or release fell on the shoulders of one person. Right now, this is going to go before the Release Review Committee, a committee full of subject matter experts that are going to be reviewing the covenant to make sure that any modification, amendment, or release does not run afoul of the city code, any Miami 21, or any other provisions that would be applicable.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
I think my concern during the original time we discussed this had to do with the release of covenants, the modification of covenants. Our citizens put confidence in the fact that if there's a covenant on a property, they're protected from whatever it is that covenant is in force for. I keep thinking back to the covenant that was on the Shell station at 27th Avenue and US 1. They can't have a structure bigger than, I forget, 900 square feet, whatever, on that corner. And they've come back and tried to get rid of that covenant repeatedly so that they can build a big structure there. And our citizens put confidence in these covenants to protect them. And I just think that notification is a really big issue around a covenant. And 250 feet just doesn't sound like enough.
Okay, if there's no more comments, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Before we go,
Yes.
two things. Well, I do want to confirm that there are no public comments that came in online. So public comment is being closed so we can shut down the City Hall podium and the online comment form.
Public comment is now closed.
Thank you. The second thing is in regards to the October 21st meeting. There were two items that were originally slated for October 21st. However, after the governor extended the order for virtual meetings, the applicants for those items asked that their items be placed on the next available agenda that is an in-person meeting. Because of that, as of right now, there's nothing slated for the October 21st meeting, and the deadline passed to be able to add anything to that agenda. So as of right now, there's nothing on that agenda.
I would like to cancel that meeting.
Okay. Amber, do we need a board's vote?
No, it doesn't require a vote unless the members want to vote. It doesn't require a vote. Just please make sure that all members are aware of the cancellation if there are members that aren't present today.
Okay. So the meeting for 10/21 will be canceled. The next meeting is going to be on October 16th at 5 p.m. The agenda would be published tomorrow for that. And that is all.
Erica, also, please make sure that the clerk's office updates their calendar.
Will do.
That it's canceled. Okay.
Mr. Parrish, are you going to make a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion, but before I do, I'm so grateful to Vice Chair Torrens. Mr. Ruiz, I do agree with Ms. Torrens. I think there's, especially with covenants, those require additional scrutiny. To release those when sometimes the neighborhoods have fought so hard to get those covenants in place, that's even, to me, is more important than the dissolution of the unity of title, which I can see be doing administratively. But a release of a covenant, covenant means a promise, I think is an entirely different level of trust in the community. So I just wanted to add that before I make a motion to adjourn.
And I'm sorry, I'll just make one last point with respect to that. A lot of these covenants that are entered into are typically tied to a development that will become before this board or come before the city commission, and they will not be unilaterally released administratively. There will be a recommendation, and you see that in the legislation itself. It's a recommendation that would be made to the ultimate governing body that is required to modify, amend, or release that covenant.
But developments get momentum, and one of the momentum they get is we just get this covenant erased, then we'll do this other wonderful things for the neighborhood and everything. So I'm always aware of momentum in development as well, which because we see that building up all the time as properties get assembled, and so we can debate that on a whole other thing. But I did move to adjourn, so unless somebody else has something they want to add.
Thank you all. Good night. Motion's granted. See you in a week.